Welcome back to the review space, and today I am going to review WWE Monday Night Raw, August 29, 2016. Last night I ended up watching, last night, the 29th. Monday Night Raw, this is what I thought about it. Watched it from beginning to end, and first of all, I thought it was a decent episode. It was worth watching, it's definitely worth checking out. Raw's been pretty improved. I mean, I thought it's, pretty much a decent show in the past several weeks, especially after the brand split. It feels like they're at least trying to put on a good show. I would say that SmackDown Live tends to be just a little bit better, just slightly, in terms of its presentation, its storylines, and its overall feel. But Raw isn't a terrible show. Not like it used to be, just maybe 5 or 6 months ago. So anyway, we begin with a funny segment between Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Big Cass, and Roman Reigns, the guy. It was basically, it was hosted by Corey Graves. They were all sitting in the middle of the ring, and it was just a funny, back and forth promo between the different characters. Kevin Owens would say something funny, Seth Rollins would say something funny. Even Big Cass got, he had a funny line in there. The only guy who didn't really say anything was Roman Reigns, and he just ended up punching Kevin Owens, and which started a brawl between the four of them, and that makes perfect sense because at least they know not to keep Roman Reigns talkative and just keep him as a guy who is a silent killer, a silent tough guy. I mean, people were already booing him when he got the mic. He didn't even have to say anything before he even uttered a single word. He didn't say anything, but he just grabs the mic. The whole crowd boo, and it was just so fucking hilarious to see that. People will never forget that. They're never gonna forgive him for his bad promos back in late 2014. Yeah, the tater tots and Jack and the Beanstalk, some of the crazy stuff, the stupid stuff that he was talking about. And just horrible promos back then. But I do like Roman Reigns. It's just cutting a promo is not his strongest suit, especially when they give him stupid lines. But I don't think he's a horrible mic worker per se, because I've seen his interviews outside of the WWE, and he does come across as a, he's an intelligent guy. He comes across as a well-spoken guy. It's just they have to, let him more be himself, and make him more Attitude Era type of character, and I think he'll be fine. People have to start respecting him again. So it is what it is. That we get a funny promo with Chris Jericho backstage with Tom Phillips. That was just absolutely hilarious. The whole drink it in, man, and the thing with it, and the running joke of what is it, and just funny shit from Chris Jericho. This guy is just great on the mic. Always one of the best promo in the history of WWE, and even back in WCW, I used to fucking hate Chris Jericho. He was a heel back then in WCW as a cruiserweight, and just very hateable, very unlikable, but in a good way because he was a really good heel. But he's amazing on the mic anyway. I hear that he's maybe not gonna be in WWE after a few more months, not his contract, but he's gonna go on tour or something. He's gonna leave after a while, so maybe this is the only time that we'll, his time is very limited. Chris Jericho is in some ways a part-timer, but not like Brock Lesnar. He's actually, he's full-time when he's around, but then he goes away for 6 months or something like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Jericho goes away, and it does keep him fresh. It's a very smart way to wrestle. Is at his age, he's a veteran. He's been around for over 2 decades. That's how he keeps fresh, man. He comes back for 5 or 6 months and he goes away for the rest of the year. So very smart, very smart. We got a good match with Neville and Chris Jericho. Yeah, this was a solid match between these two. I mean, it's just fun to see Neville. He has some chemistry with Chris Jericho. And I know he got injured a while ago, and he had that fucking slide and he ended up fucking up his ankle or whatever. But this was a decent match. Neville is always such an amazing high flyer. He's tremendous. I don't know if he'll ever be champion or anything like that. He has a better chance now that you got this brand split. But I feel like Neville is more suited to the cruiserweight division, and he can be the face of that. I don't know if I necessarily buy him as the Universal Champion or the World Champion or anything like that. But he is very talented, and that's his strongest suit, is in the ring. And unfortunately, he's the kind of guy that he has to do like a triple corkscrew, high-flying aerial maneuver in order to get the same kind of reaction that maybe somebody would, like CM Punk would say something funny or witty or something interesting on the mic. Neville has to do crazy shit inside the ring to get like a similar high amount of cheers, so it's kind of... that's his strong suit, is in the ring, but at the same time it just feels like Neville, his mic skills have to improve. Maybe he can work on it a little bit more, work on his accent, and it's so interesting to me to see somebody like Neville, and to see these wrestlers where you have like one wrestler will have really amazing in-ring ability, but their mic skills will be shit, and then somebody will have amazing mic skills, but their in-ring will be shit. Kind of like The Miz. The Miz is like the opposite of Neville, The Miz is really good on the mic, but in the ring, I think he's very, very below average. He's not impressive at all. And I wish there was a wrestler he's got both. He's got both qualities. He can work in the ring and amazing high spots and everything, and they can also work on the on the mic and amazing promos. Shawn Michaels would be a perfect example of that. And unfortunately, there's very, very, very few Shawn Michaels in the business. All right, number 4. I cut it up in different numerical segments. New Day meets Bayley. That's right, the new introduced new member of the roster, Bayley. But we know Bayley. Dana Brooke confronts them, and basically she says that she's been talking with Gallows and Anderson. I thought this was a fun segment. New Day is goofy, and Bayley is also kind of goofy, but in a cute, endearing kind of way. So it's kind of a good mix between New Day and Bayley. As far as Dana Brooke, man, Dana Brooke's got it going on. She's just, I don't know if she's a natural blonde, or if she bleaches her hair, just like pretty much every fake blonde in the history of the entertainment industry. But she's very sexy, great figure. She looked absolutely phenomenal in that little promo that she had with Gallows and Anderson. The fucking the nurse outfit. She was a nurse's outfit, running with the whole doctor theme and everything, and she looked smoking hot with the freaking nurse outfit on, man. I mean, oh my god. We got this character named Hyon, this female wrestler. She cut this really awkward promo backstage with Andrea DeMarco. And she basically said, "Everything is bigger in Texas. I'm from Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, including my heart." And then Andrea, the interviewer, said, "Here's hoping that your heart is still beating after the match against Nia Jax." And Hyon, she basically just replied, "Thanks." In a really sincere kind of way. It just came across as really awkward and weird. She would just have this normal conversation. Andrea's going yeah, I hope that you don't get eviscerated and, get beheaded by freaking Nia Jax. And Hyon is just yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm totally, I appreciate you saying that to me. I remember seeing this Hyon female wrestler in Booker T's promotion. This was maybe 6 or 7 months ago when I watched Realities of Wrestling. So I remember seeing her there. She's a pretty good looking chick, I don't know what her ethnic background is. She looks like she's either Hispanic or, maybe part Native American or something like that. But she's a really good looking chick. Very pretty. As far as her match with Nia Jax, Nia basically just squashed her. I mean, she just destroyed her. She got her finisher in, which is like a fireman's carry into a kind of like a side slam, pinning combination. Heyman just got absolutely obliterated. She is very good looking, so maybe she'll get a chance sometime in the future. Maybe 2 or 3 years down the road when she gets better, it improves her her in-ring skills and stuff. Heyman becomes a member of the WWE female wrestling division. I think she looks good. It's just that she's a jobber at this point. Seth Rollins, he got a video package showing his match against Sami Zayn, who looked like he suffered an ankle injury. Would just lead into the Sami Zayn match against Jinder Mahal. Somehow Sami Zayn manages to beat Jinder Mahal even with his supposed ankle injury. I don't know how injured Sami Zayn really is. I don't know how bad his ankle has really been damaged, but it looks like he is selling it a little bit. Looks like he is still suffering from the really awkward landing with the ankle from, I guess it was last week with his match with, was it last week? No, I'm starting to forget. I guess it was last week. It was the qualification for the 4-way last week with Seth Rollins. Sami Zayn. To me, when I see Sami Zayn, he's like a future like Daniel Bryan kind of character. Just a likable, bearded dude from the indies, and he's really good, and he's not the biggest, size-wise and everything, but he's a really good high flyer, and he's a really good... he's a good hand, he's a good in-ring performer. Maybe one day he does become champion, so... And he is pretty good on the mic, too. We got a fun match between Bayley and the New Day against Gallows and Anderson, or Gallerson as they should be called. People call him Gallerson. I also want to call him Gallerson just for, making it shorter. Also with Dana Brooke, Dana Brooke again with that smoking hot nurse's outfit. Dana breasts, man, my God, like her fucking titties are out. She has the nurse's outfit on, and you can still see her bust. She underneath it. She's got her wrestling outfit, her actual gear, but like her titties are so big that they're like poking out, and her her cleavage is like showing. So it's very distracting, but it's nice. It's very, I can't complain. Bayley got the pinfall on Dana once again. We got Charlotte on the commentary, and she was basically, basically putting herself over, but also kind of putting Bayley over a little bit too, saying that she's talented and everything. She's not as good as me, but Bayley's also talented. So we'll see Bayley going for this woman's title against Charlotte sometime in the future. And it's almost like Dana was treated as like a fucking afterthought. So maybe this is the decline for Dana. Dana might be thrown back in at NXT to kind of improve her skills and everything like that. So maybe this would be, the start of Dana Brooke going back to NXT. We got a pretty good match between Cesaro and Sheamus. This was actually a pretty damn good match, very enjoyable. Apparently they're having a best-of-7 series, which I wasn't even aware of. Cesaro took a particularly rough-looking apron ring post bump, to the outside, and maybe he was just selling the injury or whatever. He was selling his back, like he got fucking injured, his back got injured, but I can never tell. I never check the fucking dirt sheets. I don't read any of that. I don't read like backstage, like who really got injured and stuff like that. I don't really pay too much attention to that. I just watch it as basically a casual fan, or a more casual fan, not like a smart mark who has to read every fucking spoiler, read every single like backstage thing. I just watch it for what it is, this presentation. So maybe that in a little bit kind of a closed-minded way of going at it. This is the internet age. Maybe I should be, looking up the information, but it's just wrestling to me. You know what I mean? Like if it's a big news, if somebody really did get injured, then yeah, maybe if I hear about it, I'll report it for sure. But as far as something like this, Sheamus and Cesaro, I have no idea. I'm assuming that he's just selling this fucking injury. That Cesaro was not really injured, or maybe he, maybe hurt a little bit, but not in a serious fucking way. Because we saw Sheamus, he locked into Cloverleaf. he got the win, so he played up the the back injury and everything like that. So I'm just assuming this is all a freaking work. We got a tribute video package to Mr. Fuji. Mr. Fuji was before my time. His era, and when I think he was a tag team champion. I don't think I was even alive when he was tag team champion back in his time. So I never got to see him much aside from when he managed Yokozuna back in the early 90s. And he was just this hateable foreigner heel. He was a bad guy, the manager of Yokozuna, the evil manager, the evil heel manager. Very stereotypical, villain Japanese character, but he definitely, he's... I don't even know if he's even in the Hall of Fame. Maybe he already is. So again, it's one of those research things where I probably need to look it up. But I never really cared much for Mr. Fuji because he wasn't really a big part of my childhood. So, but definitely rest in peace. It's fucking sad. It seems like he's been around for a long time too. It's kind of like if you hear somebody like a Bobby Heenan passing away or somebody like that, or somebody from that early '90s era of managers. Braun Strowman squashing a masked jobber named Americo. So this Americo dude, he's got the full-on, he got the mask, but he also had like these long, I don't even know what you call them, like little long, not braids, but they were like long, what the fuck, like streamers hanging from his mask. At one point, like even in the commentary, Corey Graves called Americo Americano. Called him Americano, like he didn't even remember his name. Maybe he was just like working it. He was just pretending he was making fun of the fact that the guy had a forgettable like name. But even like this jobber guy, this Americo guy, he reminds me of Sangriento from TNA. He was basically a ripoff of Sin Cara when Sin Cara came out. Back in 2011 when he debuted and he was a new character. So TNA had to have their own fake version of Sin Cara. And he was played by Amazing Red. Who was, that was many, many years ago. But, the Sangriento character, and that never went anywhere. That was such a shitty fucking, like, hack gimmick, shitty ripoff of Sin Cara. It was just so lame. But he looked very similar to... this Americo looked a lot like Sangriento with the streamers hanging from his mask. Braun Strowman, as far as Braun, squashing these jobbers, I like it. I like jobber matches. I think it's necessary. Long overdue. I definitely missed it. I liked it when they did it with Ryback back in, I guess it was 2012. So it's been a few years since they had actual jobber matches. I like what they're doing with Nia Jax and her squash matches. So it's good to establish these people as monsters, these giant men and women. If they have big size, make them look like absolute beasts, and that's what's happening with Nia Jax and Braun Strowman. They look good so that one day, when they challenge for the fucking championship, they look like legit, contenders. I like it. I like the squash matches, definitely. It's cool. I wish you could do that with the video games, with the 2K video game WWE series. I got 2K14. I had that for many years, and you can't really do that. Aside from like lowering the fucking difficulty, you can toggle it to make it more easy. But I'm talking about like actual having specific jobber type of matches where in the video game you can do just like one finishing move right from the bat, right from the get-go. As soon as the bell rings, you hit him with your finisher, and then 1, 2, 3, and then the guy loses immediately. You don't have that with the 2K games. It feels like they always kick out. You hit them with a finisher after like a 10-minute match, they still kick out. You got to hit them like 5 times with your freaking finisher nowadays, and so that kind of sucks. We got a really long in-ring segment between Stephanie McMahon and Paul Heyman. Just a long in-ring promo back and forth between Stephanie and Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman basically apologized. He gave a $500 payment, which was basically ultimately accepted by Stephanie. for the attack of Brock Lesnar on Shane McMahon at SummerSlam. This was, yeah, they had to address it. They had to basically address the attack on Shane. I thought it was just basically going to be a suspension on Brock, give him an excuse to go away for a few months as a typical a part-timer that he is. Some of the fans started chanting EC Dub when Paul Heyman came out. EC Dub, which is awesome in 2016. I thought that chant died, 7 or 8 years ago, back when they brought back the ECW show, but they turned it into a WWE generic fucking third-rate show. ECW, WWE ECW. So I thought that was Vince McMahon's way of killing that fucking chant, but they still chant the EC Dub. The smart mark fans and the people that respect Paul Heyman, they know what he's done back in the in the 90s. But when they were chanting the EC Dub, Stephanie cut them off right away. She was very quick, and she's like, "Yeah, I purchased ECW. I bought ECW from Paul Heyman many, many years ago." And that really riled up the crowd. They started chanting CM Punk instead. They resented Stephanie cutting him off, so they were CM Punk, and even after the segment ended, they still chanted CM Punk. It's amazing. Over 2 years that CM Punk has been gone from WWE, these fans still fucking chant his name. It's incredible. Somebody is that fucking popular and resonated with the crowd really, really well. Like CM Punk, I'm not the biggest CM Punk fan. I don't really even like him as a wrestler. I was never like a big fan of his, but I always liked his mic skills. I thought he was really good in the mic. I think that's why he was so successful, was he was such a good promo. And I think that like in 15 or 20 years from now, 15, 20 years down the line, you'll see younger generation wrestlers, the new wrestlers of in the future. They'll cite back and refer to CM Punk as one of their inspirations. CM Punk, like, oh, I got into wrestling because of people like CM Punk. I was a big fan of CM Punk when I was young, when I was a kid, and so I became a wrestler because of him. Those kind of stories I think will come out in 15, 20 years down the road. So he's CM Punk is one of those guys that influenced an entire generation of future wrestlers, because I think that's cult of personality. That's what it was. That was his gimmick, the cult of personality. But he had a cult following. He had a lot of loyal people that like him because of his charisma and his mic skills. Alright, Darren Young with Bob Backlund at his corner, somehow managing to pin Titus ONeil in this never-ending feud. This fucking feud that keeps going and going and going. It feels like these two have been in every segment with each other for the past 3 or 4 years. They were a tag team, the Primetime Players, and then they split up and broke up, and then like Titus turned heel on fucking Darren. He got his own theme song. Bum, 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 bum. They wanna know, huh? That was, I actually like that heel theme that fucking Titus used to have. I don't know why he doesn't use that anymore. That was a really cool theme song. Way better than his Primetime Players making moves. I fucking hate that stupid song. I just think it's really dumb, and it doesn't have an oomph to it. It doesn't have an impact to it. But he turned heel on him a long time ago, and then they got back together, and then they won the tag championships from New Day. They became like temporary champions. I think it was last year. Then they kind of didn't do anything as a tag team. They kind of just like split up or not really did anything with them. And then fucking they're still having feud. They're still having matches against each other every week now, and it doesn't even matter. It's so irrelevant. Titus feels irrelevant. Even Darren with Bob Backlund feels like he doesn't matter in this modern era. Like they got nothing going on for them. The crowd didn't care, so why should I care? It feels like these guys should be facing against other opponents, other fucking enemies, and establishing other storylines. Fucking have other shit for these guys to do, man. It's getting boring, and it's so fucking we don't even need it. We don't want these guys to face each other again. We don't. Just end it. Just end it. What is the deal with this thing? Like, Titus, he's got a good look. I remember when he was on NXT, and he was like kind of out of shape back then. He had kind of like a big belly. Like, he looked like he stopped working out. You know, he was looking kind of lazy and sloppy. And that was a couple of years ago when he was, making appearances at NXT. But they got to find something else to do for these guys. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Big Cass. They got the 4-way elimination for the WWE Universal Championship, the main event. Big Cass, he got eliminated first. Not surprised by that. He's the least experienced. Maybe not least experienced, but definitely the least established. He's the newest guy out of all these guys. So I don't expect him to last long in this fatal not fatal 4-way. It's an elimination 4-way. Triple H came out of nowhere sometime in this match. He pedigreed Roman Reigns. The whole crowd went nuts. I was fucking shocked. I didn't expect that at all. And then Triple H, Seth Rollins pinned freaking Roman Reigns, right? Seth pinned Roman, and then Trips looked like he was hoisting up Kevin Owens in the corner. Seth was in the other corner. And then Triple H turned on Seth Rollins, fucking pedigreeing him right in the middle of the ring. Very similar to the Daniel Bryan thing. Remember when he turned on Daniel Bryan a couple of years ago? And the whole crowd this time was really into it. They were very fucking happy because we were getting a new champion, a new fresh face. This allowed Kevin Owens to get the final pinfall and become the brand new WWE Universal Champion is Kevin Owens, KO. I predicted this. I thought he was going to win. He was my pick from last week when they had the stipulations and everything. I thought that he had the best chance of winning it because he's a new face. They wanted a new face with Finn Balor to carry the Raw brand and become the new face, the new champion of the new era. It's a new generation or whatever, the new era of this talent surge that they have. So Kevin Owens is a perfect a choice for that. He's a perfect alternative to Finn Balor because he's not Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins has been champion before. Roman has been. It feels like he's been pushed down our throat for the past year and a half. So who else is left but a Kevin Owens, he's proven. He sold the most, not the most, but he sold a lot of T-shirts, a lot of merchandise, very popular even amongst the WWE universe and everything like that. So he was a good choice. I just didn't predict Triple H coming out. That came out of nowhere. That I did not expect. So that one caught me off guard. And but it was a nice little fucking thing because now we'll probably see Triple H and Seth Rollins, pedigree versus pedigree, and that's going to be an interesting feud, and the whole dynamic with Roman Reigns that is also there. I don't know what's going to happen. That's going to be a 4-way, a triple threat in the future. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Triple H. I know that Triple H re-signed again to WWE as an actual performing talent, as an in-ring wrestler, so he's in there for the long haul. So, oh man, Kevin Owens, the champion, he's come a long way from the Ring of Honor days. Here you go, another fucking ROH main eventer, alumni from 2009, 2010. And here you have Kevin Owens. ROH became the fucking future of WWE. They better fucking thank ROH because Ring of Honor is the breeding ground of WWE's future. They became the modern day feeder system. The modern day territory fucking OVW developmental almost. Where they have these crop of young guys, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan, even somebody like a CM Punk, Samoa Joe, all these guys that have been through Ring of Honor, and then they became ultimately WWE stars. So it's fucking crazy. ROH is tremendous, and the stuff that they're doing now. You know, I don't want to talk too much about ROH because I don't review Ring of Honor, but the stuff that they do now, they got the Bullet Club. They got Adam Cole, and he's like the member of the Bullet Club, and he's the ROH champion now. He beat Jay Lethal, so they got interesting shit. If those guys go to WWE in the future, Adam Cole, Jay Lethal, and even the Young Bucks, some of these guys, I'm looking at the fucking future of WWE. Adam Cole, who's only 27 years old, something like that, 27, 28, he's still a young guy. This guy might be a fucking WWE champion in the future, you don't even, because you don't think about that kind of stuff when you're watching Ring of Honor. You're watching independent wrestling, and it's like, it's a separate company. It doesn't go through your head, but it's like, wow, this guy could be WWE champion one day. This fucking Adam Cole. So it's like, you better enjoy him now. It's kind of cool to see him rise through the fucking ranks and go through the developmental. So that's it for this episode of the Review Space Monday Night Raw. Can't wait to see some SmackDown live later tonight, and that's about it. Peace.